Fortnite's gearing up for the Ultimate Showdown final live event, and the Death Star's epic attack are coming in hot. Stick around and get the full lowdown on all the new POIs, the hidden secrets in the Season 3 teasers, the mystery storyline trailer, and the exact timing of the event you won't want to miss. First up, we've got the first teasers of brand new locations. One of them? A graveyard for old AT walkers that's been repurposed into a greasy fast food spot for the loopers. One of them even got rebranded from AT to Eat. Yeah, that pun alone deserves a like. Judging by the terrain in the teaser, this one's probably tucked away in the mountains, somewhere near the masked meadows and the shining span. Next spot? It's right by Magic Mosses. This is where the Millennium Falcon crash lands, bringing along the Resistance and their troops. They'll be setting up a mini base and outpost around the wreck. At first glance, the area looks kinda small, but I've got a feeling that most of it's actually underground. All those tunnels in the teaser? Big hint. Also, now it's official. It won't just be the Death Star floating up there all season long, the Star Destroyers are sticking around too. And while we kinda get what the giant flying slices of pizza are doing, Palpatine's personal space palace is gonna slowly move across the sky. It'll go through a few phases, and in the final ones, that super laser is gonna lock straight onto the island. So far, we've seen 4 new POIs. The Mandalorian base taking over Hopeful Heights, the AT fast food spot in the mountains, and the Resistance camp. But let's be real. Once the season officially drops, we'll probably see even more new locations. So yeah, if you want to stay in the loop, smash that subscribe button. Now, you're not going to believe this, but the real chaos right now is all in the lore. The last update came in hot with a ton of juicy story bits, even though Epic being Epic tried to bury half of it in encrypted files. Classic, which is why some major story beats got leaked way earlier than planned. One of those leaks? A secret cinematic we were supposed to see at the end of the season. But here's the twist. Epic's actually planning to drop it inside the Quests tab. Yep, like an actual story cutscene baked into the challenges. I think this might be the first time they're doing something like that. Could mean they're finally taking the lore and events more seriously. But don't worry, it's not packed with spoilers for the actual event, so you can chill and watch it without stress. Let's break it down. It kicks off with Brat, and Big Dill breaking into the Masked Meadows shop, which, if you forgot, is run by Dago. And it's pretty obvious these dollar store rappers aren't here for an autograph. They're here to rob the place and bounce. Funny little detail, Epic actually remembered the goofy beef between T-Pain and Big Dill. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, chances are you're not subbed to my channel, so fix that and stay plugged into the Fortnite chaos. Anyway, when the hot dog guy picks up a call mid-heist, Big Dill's face says it all. Pure side-eye energy. And if you take a closer look at the trailer, there are actually a bunch of cool Easter eggs and hints tucked in. For example, there's a framed photo of Dago, Kendo, and Jade. Clearly something Mask Guy really values. But what threw me off the most was seeing the Mask of Destruction still hanging on the wall. Reminder, that's the exact mask Dago used when he entered the Spirit Realm. I mean, yeah, maybe he somehow made it back and neatly hung it back up like nothing happened. But I seriously doubt it. So yeah, chalk it up as another goofy continuity error from Epic. Unless I missed something, feel free to call me out in the comments. I'm not above being wrong. Anyway, our discount burglars weren't there for the fancy trinkets. What really caught their attention was Dago's white and gold mask, and the second Dill plopped it on his head. Boom! He got hit with a flashback straight from the Spirit Realm, where Dago was literally getting consumed by darkness. Yup, our so-called protector of the island? Yeah, he's officially off the roster. Looks like the second Dago ended up in another dimension. The darkness took over both his body and soul. With that glow-up, dude went full demon Giga Chad. Not even remotely human anymore. If you brighten the trailer frame, you can actually see his body is covered in weird growths shaped like masks. Makes sense, I guess. He is the mask maker. But what really gave me chills was the appearance of the puppeteer. And let's be clear, this isn't the same ancient spirit that had been haunting Night Rose for centuries. If you look close, the demon in the cinematic has gold detailing on the mask, just like Dago's. And that got me thinking, what if these demons aren't real entities at all? What if they're just twisted reflections of the people who enter the spirit realm? Like, the worst parts of their soul, the deepest, darkest pieces of themselves, amplified by the darkness? That would explain why Jade was able to resist when she went in. She's basically a literal sunflower with a moral compass, so the darkness had nothing to latch onto. Daigo, our self-proclaimed island savior, wasted no time getting cozy. Yeah, he's basically the perfect vessel for the spirit realm to start its invasion of Oninoshima. I'm like 99% sure that the puppeteer in the latest cinematic isn't the darkness from the spirit realm, but more like one of its minions who's fully puppeteering Daigo now. And I have a feeling Epic didn't set that storyline up for this Star Wars crossover season, but rather for Season 4, which drops in June. Though hey, I wouldn't be shocked if we still catch a glimpse of corrupted Daigo and the creeping darkness during the Death Star finale event. Remember Season 3 teaser? Death Star wasn't aiming at the center of the island. It was locked onto Fletcher Kane's eyes. No one knows what it actually does, but what if, and hear me out, it's the thing that's been protecting the island from the spirit realm all this time. If that statue gets obliterated, boom, demons flood in and kick off Season 4's storyline. But hey, that's just my theory. For now, Daigo's ritual is almost complete, and we've only already seen the Death Star creeping into the sky. It's getting closer every day. So how's that possible if Daigo hasn't finished his ritual yet, and hasn't even opened the massive rift? Where did the Death Star even come from? Honestly, the answer's probably simple. Epic's writers fumbled the timeline again. Wouldn't be the first time, but if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Meanwhile, there's less than a week left in the season. Season 3 kicks off May 2nd. So, the best way to say goodbye to the Lawless season is by checking out the full storyline recap of that outlaw adventure right here. As I expected, shout out to Chapter 4, where entire organizations vanished every time a new season dropped. We delayed the invasion of darkness from the spirit realm. Plus, we managed to save Jade and Night Rose in the process. But the technique Daigo used to activate the portal triggered a full-on... The loopers are straight-up outlaws now. To really dive into all the twisted secrets and character relationships, I went through every new dialogue. And let me tell you, things on the island are seriously messed up. We've got a mad rat demolitionist building a nuclear bomb, a creepy Okami wolf running around stealing loopers' money, and way more weirdness. But let's break it down. First off, like I mentioned earlier, we temporarily stopped the invasion of darkness into Oninoshima. But that doesn't mean we can just sit back and chill while everyone except Jonesy. And speaking of them, Epic actually did something insane for the first time in forever. For the first time, we're seeing NPCs having full conversations with each other without a player being involved. No groundbreaking lore drops, but one huge thing Jonesy brings up is that the 0-point shard might not be the only one, and I called it last season. But even though the characters are starting to feel more alive, that doesn't change the fact that we're about to face a massive threat. Our biggest trump card in the fight against the spirit realm was supposed to be Daigo, since, as we now know, Mask Guy understands this whole dimension better than anyone else. Only problem? Yeah, we've got one massive issue. Daigo's gone dark. The demon this dude really is. Turns out, our so-called Baron? He's not a kitsune. He's not a wolf. Fletcher Kane is an Okami, a guardian spirit from Japanese mythology that protects forests and mountains. Which, let's be real, doesn't match Fletcher Kane, is his backstory. So that's why I'm here, ladies and gentlemen, to connect all the dots and show you the full picture of how the island has changed since the Golden King returned. Although calling him Golden King doesn't even fit anymore, because now he's asking to be called the Golden Gunslinger. Alright, fine, Midas. Golden Gunslinger it is. First, let's talk war with Fletcher Kane. Like I said before, we've been gathering an army of outlaws across the island for a reason, to leave the Baron with nothing. And now, Midas himself has confirmed my theory. Dude completely roasted Kane, calling him nothing but a wannabe with a fluffy tail. Turns out, these two go way back. They actually used to work together. But according to Midas, he was always one step ahead, which is why Kane has been absolutely tilted ever since. Ever since that moment, the furry wolf guy has been obsessed with being the best of the best. But we're about to bring him back down to earth. Right now, Fortnite is running a community challenge, where we're literally raiding Fletcher Kane's vaults to back him into a corner. Obviously pulling off a heist like this out Kane's entire fortune and put his so-called Golden Empire in check. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, because this war between two legendary crime bosses runs way deeper than we originally thought. We all know that Chapter 6's main plot revolves around the 0 Point Shard that crashed on the island and got snatched up by the demons in the spirit realm. Up until now, I thought that only Hope, Jonesy, and the mysterious darkness lurking in the spirit realm were after it. But turns out, everyone is trying to get their hands on this thing. At this point, the 0 Point Shard is basically the last slice of pizza in the lunchroom. Whoever grabs it first wins everything. And Midas? Yeah, he straight up admitted that he wouldn't mind taking the 0 Point Shard for himself. Keep that in mind, because this could totally be some Shakespeare gun type setup for the season's final event. But according to Midas, the most important thing right now is making sure Fletcher Kane never gets his hands on that shard. That's why Midas, Jonesy, and Hope are teaming up. For now, they've got the same goal. But let's be real. The Save the World squad isn't exactly jumping at the chance to trust the guy who turned the entire island upside down back in Chapter 5, one from before. When talking to Goldie, he literally thanks her for saving him from the spirit realm. So yeah, there's no doubt about it now. Even the big guy who showed up on Oninoshima with his boss backs this up. Looks like when Midas said the last island was too small for his ambitions, he really meant it. Dude was planning to shake things up in a whole different reality. But there's still one mystery. Still don't fully trust Midas, so don't expect any tight teamwork just yet. That said, we can start piecing together what Fletcher Kane is actually up to. Midas just exposed some of his biggest secrets, one of them being ancient magic. If you've run into convoys or cracked open vaults, you've probably seen the mystical masks. And these aren't just some cheap collectibles you'd find at a flea market. But he's also revealing some secrets from new leaked voice logs.
Sir? The mask on the wall. It's glowing. Moon above. He actually did it. Sir, you asked me to inform you when Daigo completed his tests. And were they successful? It seems so. Excellent. Omega Squad may have located Midas. Take him out. Oh, don't. With the mask in play, it hardly matters anymore. Tell me again, what does it look like? Well, it's a mask, and it glows. But not with light. Something more, sinister. Perfect. We're proceeding to the portal phase shortly. It's all over. They have no idea.
Speaking of Kane, things are not looking good for him. This guy went from building mining farm to the game just yet. In fact, how? Well, let's put the pieces together. When enraged, Midas has just arrived on the Battle Royale island, secretly putting his ominous plan into motion. Meanwhile, Fletcher Kane and Daigo are trying to fix the portal to the spirit realm, aiming to bring endless darkness to Oninoshima, taking control of our world once and for all. On February 15th, Daigo decided to face the demons. As a result, not only did he break the curse on Night Rose and Jade, but he also caused it for incredibly powerful beings. And the first, and last, one to take advantage of it was Fletcher Kane. Kane, one of the biggest criminals, arrived to seize all the gold he could. In no time, he gained control over the Oninoshima. Just a regular businessman, he's the head of a mafia, forcing everyone to use his gold. However, in this grand plan, he's about in style. Gunslinger has a jacket engraved with 3 skulls, which seems to be a nod to Hades, the one who imprisoned him in the underworld. Seen so many people obsessed with the gold fever since the society days. She's making slow progress on finding the shard, and on top of that, Hope is going through a bit of an identity crisis due to all the surrounding chaos. Even though she's the chosen one of the Greek gods who can predict the future, she still doesn't know who she wants to become. And speaking of Jones, he considers Hope a good leader. Jones and Hope aren't interested in chasing after gold. They have a much bigger goal in mind: to capture an incredibly powerful comet, which is actually a shard of the 0 Point. If you talk to Jones on the island, he'll tell you that there are more shards out there, and it confuses him because even just one shard causes a ton of problems. So, where are these other shards? Well, after building a whole new island in Chapter 4, the 0 Point was in pretty bad shape, dying out, and reality itself was slowly fading. So Jones teamed up with Dr. Sloan and traveled back in time, using energy from the Big Bang to restart the 0 point. But during that time, when Jones was in the past, the present died, leaving behind only the nothingness, which then tainted the 0 point. Here's where it gets interesting. Somehow, Jones managed to bring the Big Bang into the future at the last moment, which caused the 0 point to shatter into pieces and restored reality. However, this also led to the spread reality transform. Jones is working on a plan to rescue it. The best way to do this seems to be by talking to an actual demon, Night Rose, which Jones has already done. After hearing Night Rose's words, you get the sense that this chaos isn't just about the 0 point. There's something much darker, something the demons in the spirit realm are hiding. Well, we'll probably find out in the next episode. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and thanks to everyone who made it this far in the video. Have an absolutely amazing rest of your day, guys, and may the Force be with you.
I kinda need to act up, brother. Kick, turn me up, soul. Bring on the mayhem. It's about to be a knockout. Bringing out the big guns, putting all the stops out. This ain't what you expecting. Buckle up, it's about to get hectic. 1 for the money and 2 for the show. Make it loud, yeah, that's all that we know. Foot to the floor, now we out of control. When I move, you move, everybody let's go. Now run, run them up. Start up a rocket, yo, let's turn it up. Run them up. Now bring on the mayhem. Run them up. Start up a rocket, yo, let's turn it up. Run them up. Now bring on the mayhem. 1 for the money and 2 for the show. Make it loud, yeah, that's all that we know now. We keep it reckless. I'm a big deal, gotta hang it on my necklace. So you better watch out when we dropping in, or we gon' leave you Swiss cheese like boom.